Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. What is a passport bro? There are a lot of people who are adjacent to the passport bro movement, and they do not have the actual definition of passport bro. They don't know where it came from. Originally, it was just an expat, which means an expatriate, meaning a man who moved overseas, took his money, moved overseas, moved his entire household overseas. He then set up his household overseas, got married, had children, and lived happily ever after. There was no question about did he not like the women in his own country? But these are usually Americans we're talking about. Was he not capable of dating in his own country? None of those questions came up. But we live in a time where everything has to be female-centric and feminist-centric. So it's not just woman-centric, it's feminist-centric, which is not an actual healthy outlook. Feminism is not a healthy outlook for women. It is not woman-centric at all. You have only to bring up the topic of transgenderism to then see that feminism is not woman-centric at all. You would think something that is supposedly, by definition, is about women would protect women and be woman-only in all of their outlook. But it is not. So then, when you then bring up the expat, normally military, we're not talking about feminism at all because the expats are from a time where all of that was just starting. It had not permeated the entire society. Today, it permeates the entire society. They have laws passed all for feminism, not woman, feminism. And what's crazy, what's absolutely horrible is they gaslight women into going along with them. Feminism. It's anti-woman, and they gaslight women into supporting it. This is why you do have stuff like women shunning being called a feminist or shunning even being considered a part of the movement. Why am I talking about feminism in a definition of passport bro? Because the feminist-centric society says if you do not want to date, marry, and have children with American women, it must be because you are against feminism. There is nothing in life, nor in nature, that is centered around any one thing. Nothing. But in today's society, everything tries to scream for your attention so much that it says, if you do A, you are against B. Period. And there is no other definition. There is no other option. So, if you are a man who picks up his entire household, moves it to a foreign country, and then happens to get married to another woman in that country and have children and never return, it must mean that you are against feminism. That is not the definition of passport bro. So the terminology actually came about for black men, not to be confused with sex tourism. Sex tourism is everybody going to another country and having adult fun with whomever. It's the same thing about Las Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. The whole idea is that you come to Vegas, where I am, and you get to do whatever you want. And this is not so true today. This is true back in the mafia days. Yes, the mafia used to own not all, but most of the casinos and run the town. It was a legit town. What do you mean it was a legit town? Crime was under control when the mafia was in charge. You did not rob an old lady walking down the street at night. Did not happen. You know why it did not happen? Because they would know who did it, and you would not be visited by the police. You get my drift? So the idea is that you come to Vegas and you have a good time. Maybe it's not really a good time. You have a wild time. And when you return to your home, you can go back to being a respectable woman. This is the idea of sex tourism. That you can go to Brazil, and the reason why I say black men is because black men would go to Brazil and meet fantastic, feminine, pretty, in shape women that would cater to their needs, and they would have sex. And they were beautiful, voluptuous, just overflowing with beauty and feminine characteristics. Come to my house, I'm going to cook for you. 2 hours after meeting him, I saw you on the beach naked. Come to my house and I'm going to make you cookies. Whatever it is, right? That's not this. Passport bros are men who get their actual passport and the whole intention is to leave the country for good and go to another country. Now, what is the number one thing that you first have to have as a passport bro? Money. But the adjacent people who try and criticize passport bros all say passport bros don't have any money. They're just broke Negroes, or whatever the word they want to use. They're broke black men, or they're square, or they have no riz, which then gives a response to videos from passport bros. And they're 6'2" with money, 6-pack, deep voice, everything that a woman could want, right? I know what a woman wants. Everything that a woman would want. And then one of the men who has a whole website to help you outdo the whole passport bro thing tells you where to go, what city is good, where your money can be stretched as much as possible. That whole 9 yards is 6'4", 6-pack, flowing afro, I don't know what you want to call it, flowing dreadlocks, model looks, and of course he makes a lot of money, and he lives overseas. So the criticism is all by jealous, bitter women who don't know anything about the passport bros. Now, I know that black men have a completely different word for passport bros now, that they want to distance themselves from the other men. More power to them. It doesn't really matter. I guess technically I've been a passport bro because I've lived all over the world. And yes, women have treated me very nicely, and I've seen what a traditional woman actually acts like. Actually, my entire family is traditional. That's the men and the women. So a lot of times when I talk about women, it seems so strange to me because my family is completely stuck back in the 1920s. We're not even getting to the 50s. We're talking about the 1920s. So they have clean houses. They decorate the house. They sort of float around when they enter a room. And they are women. Ladies. And that's how we have completely made our family to be. Of course, they all have oil money. I don't have oil. So it might be different, right? And having money might be completely different. So passport bro have money, and they do. And then the second factor is they might actually like that particular culture. So some passport bros might go to Japan only. Some might go to China only. Some might go to Korea only. Some might go to Kenya only. Some might go to Ghana only. Some might go to Nigeria only. Some might go to South America, Panama, Brazil only. Pick up, leave, and move there because that's the type of woman that they like. And what's funny is the next criticism coming from women is, you're fetishizing the women there. You're fetishizing men in general. You're saying that the only way you can be with a man is if he pays all of your bills, and we're talking about he's just a boyfriend. Or not even that. He is just one of many men that you see. And she's seeing several men at the same time. So you can see passport bros actually seem to be the saner version of men. They got their stuff together. A lot of them don't need to live in the United States to make their money, but they make United States money. So they can pick up, move their entire household to a separate country, still make American money, American level salaries, but live in an overseas country that is 10 to 1, 10 of their dollars to 1 of our dollars. So as you can see, it's very simple to become a quote-unquote millionaire over there where you would not be such a thing in the United States. So they make $100,000 a year. Over there, they're a millionaire, and they live like a millionaire. So it is very logical, and we're talking about men who want to get married and start a family. Now, of course, you hear all sorts of horror stories of this guy got taken by the cartel or something like that. But that would happen anyway. That happens if you go to that country and you happen to be in that area, the cartel is going to target you and kidnap you and do all sorts of stuff. That is the thing about that area that has nothing to do with Passport Bros. Passport Bros should probably, I don't even know the guy's website, should probably check out that guy's website that says, this is the best area, this is the country you want to go to, if you like this type of woman, go here. What I find funny is women say that you cannot criticize anything about. And by criticize meaning you cannot point out that they are immoral, that they are toxic, that they are terribly emotional. And what's crazy is that women say they want an emotionally intelligent man. First of all, that is a psychological term. I have a psychology career. That is a psychological term, which the layman should not be using. But let's talk about that for just 1 second. An emotionally intelligent person is a person who does not demonstrate emotions in a stressful situation. What is a stressful situation? A situation that would normally render you sad, angry, frustrated, or some sort of depression or something like that. The emotionally intelligent person does not exhibit those emotions in those situations. So when women say that they are emotionally intelligent, it is a lie. They don't know what the word means. A woman who flies off the handle and starts throwing dishes and pots and pans or drinks, and you're not emotionally intelligent. You're an infant. You're a toddler who is not in control of her emotions. So you have another component about Passport Bros. They're emotionally intelligent. Let's say they did have a bad relationship and they said, okay, I'm going to pack my bags and leave. I'm sick of this. I am going to pack up my bags. Nothing emotional about that. In fact, that seems like utter control. Let's say that the wound is super fresh. If they were an emotional toddler, they would try and get revenge or do something or whatever, right? Like the woman who is upset that her ex broke up with her and then she goes and sleeps with all of his friends. That is not emotional intelligence. But the man who says, okay, this keeps happening. I do not believe I can meet an emotionally intelligent woman, a traditional woman, a feminine woman, because we see when you uplift women in society and they feel empowered, the society falls. The society is destroyed. The West is on the path of destruction. We have Europeans, white Europeans, who are going to not be replaced. They're just going to vanish. That's what's happening. The fertility rate among white Europeans is low and going down. It's going to get to a point where there is a point of no return because so many white Europeans have not had children that the few who are having children can't even replace all of the people, white Europeans who have not had children. Let's say there's 10,000 white Europeans. If there is only 100 having children, that population is going to vanish. There's no way for 100 to replace 10,000. No way. So you have the corporate Western society uplifting women because they spend money like sailors, not having children, feeling so empowered that they will not have children, not getting married, and not dating. And not dating down. What's funny is the term dating down has been co-opted by feminism. Dating down was never about money. Dating down was always about such that men always dated women who did not have money. That wasn't the problem. The problem was men never dated down. They never dated below their class. That means education, personality, culture. The term, this is a cultured person. It's a cultured woman. It's a cultured man. If you are a cultured person, you want to be with other culture. The richest men on the planet mainly have done blue collar stuff. Oil, coal, railroads. They weren't in offices and stuff like that. That came later. But yeah, they all started out as actual railway men. Then they came up with an idea. They started a business and they implemented their idea and they became billionaires in a time where making $100,000 was an insane amount of money. So Passport Bro is cultured. I want to hit home that it is a complete distinction from sex tourism. The two have nothing to do with each other. Sex tourists go, have sex, and return. That's it. That has nothing to do with Passport. Also, bitter women are always insulting men at every level. Psychologically, aesthetically, what they look like. We have super duper rich men, out of shape rich men, dating supermodels right here in the United States. So any sort of insults trying to make that a point isn't a point because women are going to date rich men, period. So if you see a Passport Bro overseas and he's living in a villa, I find it hard to believe that he was not dating women here. I think he is one of the Passport Bros that dated women, found them lacking, and said, you know what? I'm going to pack up my entire household and move overseas. All of that costs money. I don't know if you've ever packed up a household. I keep doing it. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please like the video. Please share the video. I think there is a whole other section in the quote-unquote manosphere that is just about degenerate act. That is getting girls and doing stuff just to get girls. Trust me, that is not emotionally intelligent. And marriage is nowhere in the picture and nowhere of a concern. So if you, again, like they are Passport Bro adjacent, they're not in the movement, they're adjacent. And because they're men, they think they can define Passport Bros also, right? No, you're just a whoremonger. You deal with whorish women. So no, you don't get to define something talking about men going in, getting married and having children and forming a household. No, that is not your lane. That goes for Fresh and Fit, Abbott and Peel or what, I don't know what them. All of these people, what was his name? Andrew Tate. No, those are all worldly men. They have nothing to do with let's be gentlemen, get married and have children. Key point, overseas. Key point, in a country where women don't up and just divorce you because they're empowered. Empowered means your country is failing. The corporations are so in control that they empower women and pass laws for you to not even question a woman's veracity. He did this to me. You cannot defend yourself against it to the point where you get your home and livelihood and fortune completely taken from you based off of a lie, and you cannot even question. You can't even defend. And all the other empowered women come to her rescue. The truth comes. The man doesn't get back his wealth and reputation because they're going to defend the woman. The rise of Passport Bro. We're going to go to a country where that does not take place at all. Women are not emotionally intelligent. So a woman might say anything. And we need to live in a society where we understand that that happens. We don't need to live in a society where you cannot question it at all in a court of law. What? And then we want to question the integrity of all women if they're coming to the defense of these liars. Why would you do? What kind of reputation do you have? You're not going to call this woman out on lying about a man, about your husband, about your son, about your grandfather? You're not going to question that? She's a woman. She's a woman? That's your reason? You're not going to question Hillary Clinton? No? She's a woman. The rise of Passport Bro. I said there are many reasons, but that is a big reason right there. You're going to live in a society where women get to lie about you and take everything that you own, and you can't even defend yourself. nor even when you do defend yourself and it comes out that it is a complete lie, you don't get anything back. You all are still saying Cosby was a this, that, and the other. He went to court, proved she was lying, won the case. Y'all are still saying she was a this. He is a this, that, and the other. Still, till this day, even the Supreme Court of, Pennsylvania or whatever, said not only should he be free, but the court was terrible and should be censured, meaning they should be pulled off of the court completely, but you all are still saying because of this, that, and the other. The rise of Passport Bro, where men, what is it? Rand? John Galt leaves society. John Galt in this case is all men. Well, not all men. You all can keep the Pookies and the Ray Ray. Y'all can keep the thugs. Keep those people. In my last video, I said there's a whole other group of black people who are not that. And you all keep saying black people do this. No. Black culture is very defined, and it's not that. It's very close to John Galt. This is why you don't hear from actual black community, actual black society, black culture. You don't hear from us. And men, Gen Z, Gen Alpha is 200%. They're not dating Western women at all. Thank y'all for watching.